Greetings, and welcome to my humble little abode. My, what a lovely little costume you've got on. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mr. Know-It-All, and I'll be your host on this tour of the true meaning of Halloween. Now, if you'd kindly please just step down that hallway, and our tour will begin. Like most human institutions like language, science, philosophy, and religion, Halloween has morphed through many manifestations. Thousands of years ago, the Celts believed that Samhain was the evening when the boundary between the living and the dead was so thin that the souls of the dead could roam freely back and forth. Looking for ways to appease any threatening spirits, the Celts would offer treats to the spirits in an effort to keep them away from their homes. Blood sacrifices were offered to the gods in a petition to bring the sun back for another season of bountiful farming. By the 8th century, Pope Gregory III created All Saints' Day, or All Hallows' Eve, as a tactic to compete with Samhain and give all celebrants a peaceable means to transition to Christianity and sever connections with their pagan origins. All Hallows' Evening was eventually colloquialized into Halloween. However, in 1486, Pope Innocent VIII got fed up with waiting and outlawed the holiday because of its links to people who worship the forces of nature, or as he called them, witches. People who honored their family traditions were hanged and burned alive. Hundreds of years later, in what would one day be the United States of America, Puritans were burning people they called witches, while in Virginia, Catholicism thrived and American Halloween was born, featuring divination games and the telling of ghost stories. And over the next 200 years or so, as Irish immigrants swelled into America, their traditions were united with the practices of the Catholics. Carving evil faces into pumpkins provided a token for the malevolent spiritual aspects of the holiday, and transitioned one of the scarier aspects into childish fun, which helped segue this adult occasion into a child's holiday. Eventually, it transformed into one of the many shallow excuses for American retailers to capitalize on their goods. But Halloween is still different from all other holidays in that it provides a much-needed release for Americans who cannot seem to shake the puritanical taint that has repressed their spiritual evolution, holding it in an infantile state for hundreds of years. Fear has become a repressed omnipresence in their lives. Ipso facto, their judgment is clouded. This makes them easy prey for the thugs, terrorists, and demagogues who will play with them at their whimsy. But I digress. Halloween is the one time when it is socially permissible to celebrate the macabre, dark, and feared images at the core of man's shallow, dualistic psyche. When we willfully detach ourselves from our identities and imbibe in sensual activities, when children are escorted door to door to extort unhealthy foods from neighbors and strangers with the promise of swift retribution in the event that they are denied trick or treat. It is a time when we venture willingly into a house of darkness, where the images that haunt our minds will be given license to dance upon our senses, where otherwise shunned and abhorred characters will aggressively grapple with our bodies and seduce us into adulation of our tormentors, and the last shreds of humanity will be reduced to primal animal fear, as your superstitious minds are rendered equal to the lowest form of life's aversion to pain. The only Only the fortunate ones will understand how this calibration of awareness demystifies the barrier between sentient life forms and allows us to see how all life forms are inextricably intertwined. Thus, they are granted a closer look at the phenomenon that incrementally leads to total symmetry with all of nature, while the unfortunate ones are merely left with at best a good shock and at worst with total mental collapse!